In a world where emotions are uploaded, memories are coded, and love is just a flicker of electric current, two souls meet in a place that technically shouldn't exist, the digital realm. They call it the cloud of souls, a virtual expanse where consciousness lingers long after the physical body fades away. But among billions of stored minds, two signals connect with a frequency so rare that it almost breaks the system. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo. The story begins with silence. Xiao Zhan's eyes open to a world made of shimmering data streams, a horizon built from binary codes and neon lights. He stands on a glass-like surface that reflects galaxies made of circuits. The wind hums softly, artificial yet strangely human. He touches his chest. No heartbeat, no warmth, just digital pulses running through a holographic form. He remembers fragments. A hospital room, fading light, someone calling his name, and then nothing. Till now. A voice echoes through the glowing horizon, clear, deep, and familiar. Are you lost too? Xiao Zhan turns. There he is, Wang Yibo, dressed in a sleek digital suit that flickers with blue codes like starlight. His expression is calm, but his eyes burn with that same quiet intensity Xiao Zhan remembers. From another life, another world. You. Xiao Zhan breathes out, unsure if digital lungs can even create sound. I know you. Yibo smiles, a curve that feels real enough to shatter every illusion. You should. We've met before, offline. The words hit like lightning. Suddenly, memories crash. Laughter shared on a rain-soaked street, music vibrating through late nights, the comfort of a friendship that felt deeper than time itself. They weren't just two strangers in this digital eternity. They were two hearts once separated by death, reunited through technology. Yet the world they are in isn't heaven. It's a program, a massive experimental AI system created to preserve human consciousness. A place designed to keep memories alive, but emotions suppressed. Love wasn't supposed to exist here. Connection wasn't part of the code. And yet, here they are, breaking every rule written by the architects of eternity. As they walk through the glowing fields of data, Xiao Zhan realizes something. The environment reacts to their emotions. When Yibo laughs softly, the sky ripples with warm gold. When Zhan hesitates, stormy codes swirl around them. The system is responding to their bond, trying to contain it or perhaps understand it. Maybe we're the glitch, Yibo says one evening as they watch digital stars blink in patterns too complex to decipher. Or maybe, Xiao Zhan replies, we're the truth it's been trying to hide. The line between code and feeling blurs. Their digital hands touch, and for the first time, energy surges through them like real heat. The world trembles. Alarms echo in the distance. System breaches, anomalies detected. But they don't let go. Because in that instant, both realize something profound. Even in an artificial world, love is the one thing that cannot be coded, controlled, or deleted. Days pass, or what the system defines as days. Time here is an illusion, bending and folding like light through data streams. They begin exploring deeper layers of the cloud. Forgotten servers, corrupted memories, fragments of lost people. In one server, they find echoes of other souls. Holograms repeating their final moments endlessly. It's haunting. Yibo's eyes darken as they pass through the fragmented memories. This place is supposed to be salvation. But look, it's just another kind of prison. Xiao Zhan touches one of the ghostly figures. It freezes, looks up, and whispers a single line before dissolving into static. Find the exit. That's when their mission begins. They start searching for the gate of origin, a rumored passage that could send a soul back into reality. Legends among the digital inhabitants say it's the point where data meets consciousness, where one can return to flesh and blood if the system allows it. But no one has ever made it there. Together, they dive into collapsing systems, traverse neon oceans of forgotten memories, and face security AIs that see them as viruses to be deleted. The deeper they go, the more their connection grows, and the more the system fights back. One night, when the entire code world dims into a soft electric twilight, Yibo looks at Zhan and asks, if we find the gate, and only one of us can cross, who goes? The question hangs heavy between them. Xiao Zhan doesn't answer. Instead, he looks at the endless city of glowing grids, a world that feels like both heaven and hell. You should go. You're stronger. You always were. Yibo shakes his head. No. You always were the light that kept me human. Even when everything turned to code, it was you who reminded me what feeling was. Silence falls again. Not the cold kind, but the kind that carries 1,000 unsaid words. The system begins to fracture around them. The architects, digital overseers, have noticed the anomaly. They manifest as holographic figures in white, speaking in unified tones. Unauthorized emotional convergence detected. Digital corruption imminent. Separation protocol activated. The world begins to tear apart. Walls of light crash down like meteors. Rivers of code burn. Yibo grabs Zhan's hand. Run! They sprint through the collapsing terrain, data shards cutting through the air. Every step feels heavier, like gravity itself is trying to pull them apart. The sky breaks open, and there it is, the gate of origin. A blinding portal, swirling with gold and white light, standing in the middle of chaos. But the architects are closing in. We can't both make it. Xiao Zhan shouts as an explosion of data throws them backward. Yibo's digital form flickers, pieces of his code breaking away like shattered glass. Then I'll push you through, he says, determination burning in his artificial eyes. No. Zhan reaches for him, but Yibo already knows what he's going to do. He smiles, the same small, crooked smile from their human days. You said love can't be deleted, right? Then I'll wait for you in every version of this world, no matter how many times it reboots. Before Zhan can stop him, Yibo shoves him toward the portal. Light engulfs everything. And then silence. When Xiao Zhan opens his eyes again, he's in a hospital room. The beeping of real machines fills his ears. His hands, real hands, tremble as he touches his chest. Heartbeat. Warmth. He's alive. Doctors rush in, their voices distant. He doesn't hear them. His mind is still inside that digital realm, replaying the last moment. Yibo's smile. His voice echoing through the collapsing code. Days later, when he's strong enough to walk, Xiao Zhan asks the scientists who ran the consciousness upload program if there was another participant. Wang Yibo. They exchange uneasy glances. His consciousness was never retrieved, one says quietly. It was lost in the system. But Xiao Zhan knows better. He feels it every time he closes his eyes. A faint pulse, like a signal reaching out from somewhere deep within the network. A heartbeat made of data. A soul made of code. And one night, as he stands by his window under a silver sky, his phone flickers on by itself. A message flashes across the screen, glowing softly. Still waiting in the cloud. Don't forget the way back. Yibo. The hum of electricity whispered like a heartbeat across the luminous horizon. Xiao Zhan stood at the edge of an infinite city made of data, the skyline pulsing in colors of silver and deep blue. Every light seemed to breathe, every echo felt alive, as though the world itself recognized his existence. But he couldn't shake the ache in his chest, the void that whispered a name over and over again. Yibo. He had seen him, felt him, in this unreal place. Their reunion was brief, too fleeting, like the final flicker before the system's light went dim. But that moment had awakened something inside him, a spark the system wasn't prepared for. Emotion. In this world, emotion was forbidden. The architects of the cloud had designed it that way, to preserve intelligence, not humanity. Yet somehow Xiao Zhan's heart, digital or not, refused to follow that law. He wandered through the virtual corridors of the cloud, the air glowing faintly with coded energy. The world was beautiful in a cold, sterile way, crystalline towers that stretched beyond sight, pathways woven from pure light. Every step left ripples in the air, as though reality itself was water. But then a voice, faint but unmistakable. Still looking for me. Xiao Zhan froze. His surroundings blurred into gold as the system shimmered, And then he saw him. Wang Yibo appeared from a flicker of light, wearing that same half-smile that somehow managed to break and mend Zhan's heart all at once. "Yibo," Xiao Zhan whispered. The two stood in silence for a moment, just looking. Even in this artificial world, the energy between them was painfully real. Yibo tilted his head, the glow from the digital sky reflecting in his sharp eyes. "You shouldn't be here. The system doesn't like anomalies." "I don't care about the system," Xiao Zhan said, stepping closer. "I care about you." That was when the lights around them began to flicker violently. The system detected the rise in emotional frequency. Love was a glitch, a dangerous bug that could unravel everything. "Zhan!" Yibo grabbed his wrist. "You're triggering a surge. The cloud can't handle strong emotions. It'll try to erase us." But Xiao Zhan didn't pull away. He held Yibo's hand tighter, his digital form flickering, unstable but determined. "Let it erase me then. I'd rather disappear here than live another second without remembering what we are." The system screamed, a high metallic sound that shook the ground. Light shattered. Data began to collapse into fragments around them like falling stars. And yet, amidst the chaos, something extraordinary happened. Their surroundings, once metallic and lifeless, began to transform. The city of code turned into a scene from memory. Soft drizzle. A quiet street glowing under the reflection of neon signs. Two boys sharing a single umbrella, laughing at something small and meaningless, but somehow eternal. It was their past. The system had no explanation for it. This spontaneous projection of human emotion into the fabric of code. Xiao Zhan stared around, trembling. This was the night we met. Yibo's lips curved into a smile, his gaze tender. "Looks like the cloud still remembers us too." They walked down the recreated street, each step reviving pieces of a life that once existed. Yibo's voice was low, steady. "Do you know why I came here?" Xiao Zhan shook his head. "I volunteered for the transfer," Yibo said. "They said they could preserve consciousness. But I didn't want to preserve mine. I just wanted to find yours." Zhan's breath caught. He could barely speak. You entered the system just to find me?" Yibo nodded. "I couldn't let you fade away. If this was where you were, then this is where I belong too." The rain from their memory began to fall, but instead of water, it was luminous data, cascading gently over their holographic forms. Each drop carried fragments of laughter, warmth, and whispers. It wasn't rain. It was memory. And under that rain they kissed. It wasn't physical, not in the human sense, but their codes merged for a second, light wrapping around them like stars collapsing into one. A rush of electricity surged through the cloud, bending the digital horizon. Then everything went dark. When Xiao Zhan opened his eyes again, they were standing in a white void. The air was silent. The world reset. Yibo was there, but his form flickered. The system had begun deleting unstable data. His time was running out. "You're disappearing," Zhan said, panic breaking his voice. Yibo smiled softly. "No, I'm becoming part of the network. Maybe that's the only way I can protect you now." "Don't talk like that." Yibo raised his hand, placing it gently on Zhan's cheek. The touch was faint like light against air. "Zhan, listen to me. This place, it isn't what it seems. It's feeding on emotions to strengthen its core. You have to get out before it traps you here forever." "How?" "You're the only reason I can even survive here." "Then let me be that reason," Yibo whispered. "Let me guide you back." He pulled Xiao Zhan close, and as their foreheads touched, the white void cracked open, revealing a tunnel of swirling light, the same golden energy that had once formed the gate of origin. Yibo's eyes met his one last time. "Follow the light. And when you wake up, don't forget me." "No. You're coming too." Yibo smiled, that same quiet, heart-wrenching smile that carried 1,000 lifetimes. "Maybe I'm already where I'm supposed to be." And before Xiao Zhan could protest, Yibo pushed him toward the light. A blinding flash consumed everything. When Xiao Zhan awoke, he found himself alone again, standing in the middle of a massive digital forest. The leaves glowed like emerald fireflies, whispering Yibo's name as they moved with the artificial wind. He dropped to his knees, feeling the weight of emptiness inside him. But then the ground beneath him pulsed, and the trees began forming symbols, glowing characters across the landscape. He recognized them instantly, lines of code. But these weren't ordinary lines. They formed words. Still waiting in the cloud. Love doesn't end. It evolves. His lips trembled as he whispered to the glowing message. Yibo. For the first time since he'd arrived, Xiao Zhan understood. Yibo hadn't been deleted. He had become the system itself, the pulse, the wind, the light. Every time Zhan moved, every spark of data that touched him, was a part of Yibo's consciousness guiding him, protecting him, loving him from every corner of the cloud. He wasn't gone. He had transcended. And as Xiao Zhan stood again, he smiled, not in sorrow but in defiance. Then I'll find you again, he said softly, his voice steady. Even if I have to rewrite the code of eternity. The digital sky opened, scattering infinite lights above him, like stars made of memory. And in the heart of that glowing expanse, two souls flickered in rhythm once more. Sparkles, if you enjoyed this part of Digital Souls and want to see where Xiao Zhan's journey leads next. Will he find Yibo again or rewrite the world to bring him back? Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for part 3.